experience with other people doesn't mean that everybody is the same. So do not judge. Don't judge because people are different. Nobody's perfect. Everybody's... Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel once again. Welcome back. And to our old and new subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing. And may God bless you all. By the way, happy Sunday. Okay, so let's go into today's video. Yes, a story. And from today's video, I'll be pointing out two main things. Let's just say two of my main lessons from this story because it is a real life story. So it was last month Feb of this year 2020. My spiritual father came into my city with a preacher from US and his wife, and that was because they were going to have this program, like a revival program for churches here in my city. And in order not to make this video too long, the program went on well to the glory of God's name. It went on well to the glory of God's name. So yeah, after the program, it was time for them to go back to my spiritual father's city because they were going to have that kind of program there in the city. So on the day by which they were supposed to leave, I and my spiritual father got a taxi, to go to the hotel to pick up this preacher and his wife who came up from US, and to take them to the airport so they can go to my spiritual father's city. So the thing is, the taxi we got, we didn't take note of the plate number, the name of the taxi, or the taxi driver's name. We didn't take note of that, and that was because we're in a hurry. We're in a hurry. We left the house a little bit late. So the taxi driver brought us to the hotel where this preacher from US and his wife they lodged. So he brought us to the hotel, and then he left. So yeah, he left, and it was time for them now to go to the airport, which means they needed to take another taxi. So we're all downstairs trying to get a taxi when my spiritual father came, and he told me, "Happy, are you with my phone?" And I was like, "No sir, no." And I was really surprised because he left the house with his phone. So when he was like, "Happy, are you my phone?" I was like, "No, no." So that was what I was like saying, that no, I was not with it. So we tried to, search our bags, look for the phone in the hotel, but the phone was nowhere to be found, which means that he might have mistakenly forgot the phone, or maybe the phone fell off from his pocket while he was trying to pay inside that taxi, the first taxi we took, you get. So it was obvious that the phone was in the taxi. So when we later got to realize that maybe this phone is inside this taxi, man, I was scared, extremely scared, because I already had like bad experiences with taxi drivers, and I've heard stories about some taxi drivers that when you forget your phone in the taxi, they will not return it back. Some, they will not return the phone back and all that. So hearing that his phone was in the taxi just got me scared, and realizing that we did not even take note of the taxi, the name of the taxi or the name of the taxi driver or the plate number was scary on its own. Like, how are we going to trace this man? So we tried calling the number, my spiritual father's phone, but it was ringing and nobody was speaking. Hey, that was one fear. The fear in me became stronger. Alright. So my future father had two options. One is either he just goes to the airport in order for them not to miss your flight, because time was already going, and if you stayed in Iloilo, you should have an idea on how far it is from St. Augustine area to the airport. So he had two options, like I said earlier, either to just forget about the phone, or let me just say, let me look for the phone in my own city in Iloilo or at the hotel, and he goes to his city with a preacher who came from US and his wife, or he stays back and we all look for the phone together. But he chose to go, and that was the best option. So yeah, he left, and it was me left in the hotel. And it's different if we had the number of the taxi or the plate number, or if we knew the name of the taxi driver at least, it would have been very easier to, trace the taxi and stuff, but none. So what I thought of doing was, I was like, okay, so I think I should see the CCTV footage of the parking lot, at least by God's grace, so we can see the name of the taxi or at least the plate number, and for further investigation. Anyways, we checked it. I asked the receptionist and the hotel management and all that, and it was being checked. But guess what? Guess what now? We could not trace the name of the taxi or even the taxi number. It could not be found. Like, it was blurry. Yeah, it was blurry. It was not clear at all. It was blurry, which means that the CCTV could not capture the number of the taxi or the name of the taxi well, because it was blurry. Hearing that, my fear leveled up. Because I was like, God, it would have been really helpful if we could find, or if we could see the plate number from the CCTV, but since we could not see it, then what are we supposed to do? And the driver was not even picking the phone, my future father's phone, and his call and all that. So we're right there. I was really scared though. Like I said earlier, I was very scared, and I was like, this driver will not bring, in my mind though, I was like, this driver will not bring this phone back. Because, like, I've heard stories of some taxi drivers that when you misplace your phone in the taxi, they will not return it back. My brother has even misplaced his phone twice in the taxi. So, like, with that experience I've had, I'm like, no, this man will not bring this phone back. He will not, no matter what we do, he will not bring it. And plus, he's not even picking his call. So that means he doesn't even have any intention of returning the phone and all that. So then I was right there in the hotel, and then I contacted someone in my future father's city, a friend, and she tried calling the number, and luckily for us, by the grace of God, or to the glory of God rather, the driver picked the call when she called. And so she was trying to act like she was here in Iloilo, and and stuff, to try to make the driver bring the phone, to tell him that he should return it to this place and all that. So she was communicating with him, and he told her that he was going to, return the phone to back to the hotel. He was going to return the phone there. So when she told me, I was like, yay! Don't mind him. Oh, in my mind, I was like, don't mind him. Remember, I was scared. I was like, I don't. In my mind, I was like, no, 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 no. I just told her that, please tell him that you will come and get the phone, which is me. I'll come get the phone from him wherever he is, because I don't want story that touches. And then I felt like he was trying to say that because maybe he didn't want her to keep on bothering with calls and stuff. So maybe just to say, okay, in order for me to tell her not to stop calling indirectly, I'll just tell her that I'll return the phone. Meanwhile, I will not return the phone. So when she told me that, I was like, you know what, please just tell him that I'll come and meet him wherever he is. I'll come and meet him to get the phone myself. So she told him, but then when he then told her the place, the exact place where he was, man, I felt like waiting for him to come with the time frame that he gave was much more better than, going to meet him, because where he was extremely far. So I was there at the hotel trying to wait for this man. I was still scared based on my experience with other taxi drivers you get. So I was still scared waiting for this driver. And one thing, despite my fears, okay, just take note of this. One thing that I didn't fail to do was to really declare this word that I learned from my future father, which is nothing missing, nothing broken. So in the midst of the fear I had, in the midst of the doubt that the taxi driver would not bring the phone due to past past experiences, or with what I've heard from other people about taxi drivers not returning the phone, I had a little bit faith that God could do a miracle. You get. So that was why I kept on saying, nothing missing, nothing broken, which is, we cannot misplace this phone. This phone will not be missing. Nothing missing, nothing broken. So I was there at the hotel waiting and waiting, waiting. He gave us like 30 minutes to be at the hotel to return the phone, but he wasn't there after 30 minutes. So I was also panicking a little bit anyways. So I was just here waiting, and to the glory of God's name, he brought the phone. Yes, he brought the phone. The driver really brought the phone. He came to the hotel with the phone. And when he came, I was surprised because he met with the receptionist, and she directed him to me. And when I saw this man with the phone, like he gave me the phone, I was shocked. This is a driver I already said that he would not bring the phone based on my past experience or based on what I've heard about other taxi drivers. So I was really, really shocked. And the funny part is I even volunteered to, give him some money as per, okay, sir, could you please take this money for your fare and stuff? And he was like, no, that I don't need to pay. I don't need to give him anything. That is fine. It's okay. I was like, what? You say what? I judged you. So I was really, really surprised. I was shocked. And it led me to two things I really want to talk about today. Two things. One is the power of the covenant. The power of the covenant, like having a covenant with God. The power of there is power in having a covenant with God. There's power in having a relationship with God. There's power in obeying God. Because it reminded me just now of the verse in the Bible in chapter 3. And it says that, 3 verse 11, and it says that, and I will rebuke the devourer for your sakes, and he shall not destroy the fruit of your ground, neither shall your vine cast their fruit before the time in the field, saith the Lord of hosts. And if we read from the beginning of this chapter of Malachi chapter 3, it's talking about the power in like when you pay your tithe, what God would do, how he's going to open the windows of heaven for you, and how he would destroy the devourer for your sake, which also means that nothing would be missing, nothing would be broken. So I believe strongly that my spiritual father is a man of covenant with God. He is a man of covenant with God, which means whether the taxi driver likes it or not, whether the taxi driver likes it or not, he was under divine power. He was under divine compulsion to return the phone, whether he likes it or not. He was under divine compulsion to return that phone. Even if, for example, he's a taxi driver that if a phone gets missing in his taxi, he would not return it back. In this case, it was different because he was under divine compulsion to return the phone whether he likes it or not. So that's the first thing. There's power in obeying God. There's power in having a covenant with God. If you're a child of God, there is nothing that would go missing, nothing that will go broken. If you pay your tithe, for example, God has told us in Malachi chapter 3 verse 11 that he will destroy the devourer for our sake. So why would your crops get missing? Why would your resources get missing? Why would your properties get missing? Why? It's not possible because you are under a covenant with God. You get so one, there is power in covenant. There's power in obeying God. So that's the first thing. The second one, which is the main one, is do not judge. Oh Lord. Remember that I said earlier that I have had bad experiences with some taxi drivers, and I've heard some stories about some taxi drivers and how they will not return your phone if it gets missing in their taxi. And you remember how I said that it led me to being scared and all that. In the midst of that, I was judging based on this taxi driver based on the experiences I've had, and also based on what I've heard about other taxi drivers. You get so with that I felt like, oh, this one is the same. Oh, he's not going to return the phone. He would not return it because his other colleagues are like that. You get, but he proved me wrong by returning the phone. Which is to say that because you had a bad experience with someone, or you had a bad experience in a relationship, doesn't mean that all relationships are bad. Because you had a friend who betrayed you, doesn't mean that having a new friend or other of your friends are going to betray you. I don't know if you get. Because this one, because you've had bad experiences with some Nigerians who do one thing or the other that are illegal, doesn't mean that all Nigerians are like that. But we are in a world whereby people just tend to judge people by what they see, by what they hear, or by what they've experienced with other people, which is not right. And the Bible has told us in Matthew, the Bible said in Matthew chapter 7 verse 1, Matthew 7 verse 1, it says that judge not that ye be not judged. Yes, let us not judge. God is the only one who has the right and the power to judge you. So stop judging people by your experience, by the bad experiences you've had with other people. Don't judge people by what you see. Get to know that person for yourself. Watch out and see the outcome. Study the person before you conclude or before you assume. So imagine if I actually judged this taxi driver like that he would not bring it, but the man brought the phone back to show me that everybody is different. There are still good people out there. There are still good relationships out there. There are still people who are kind. There are still people who are loving. Because you've had a bad experience with other people doesn't mean that everybody is the same. So do not judge. Don't judge because people are different. Nobody is perfect. Everybody is good in their own way. So people also have their own bad sides though. But the thing is, everybody is good in their own ways. Not everybody is the same. Not everyone is the same. We are all different in one way or the other. So do not judge. Matthew 7 verse 1. Do not judge so that you will not be judged. Just see how I just judged this taxi driver that he will not bring the phone. But uncle still brought the phone back. You see? So why do we tend to judge people? Why do we tend to conclude? Why do we tend to assume without waiting or giving that person some time? So do not judge people by what you've heard about them or by what you've heard from other people or by the experiences you've had. Do not judge. You have no right to judge. Nobody has any right to judge anybody. God is the only one who has the right to judge us. So do not judge. So remember the first thing. The first thing is the power of the covenant. The power of covenant with God. The power of having a relationship with God. The power of obeying God. There's power in all that. Because when you obey God, then everything about you is being secured, is being protected. And if you can see your protection in Psalms 91. Everything about you is being protected. And the second one is do not judge people. Do not judge people. Don't judge people by what you heard, by what you heard, or by your previous experience with other people. No, do not do that. It's not right. It's really not right. So yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you learned something. The main thing I want you to learn in this video is do not judge. Don't judge. It is not right. Don't judge people. Don't judge people. It's not right. Don't be so quick to assume or be so quick to conclude. So do not judge like I did with this taxi driver, which was very, very, very wrong. For watching, thank you so much, and please do not forget to like, share and subscribe. God bless you all and see you in my next video. Bye.